Members of the jury, the indictment in this case reads as follows. True bill. In the Circuit Court for Montgomery County, Tennessee, 19th Judicial District, pardon me, State of Tennessee, County of Montgomery, April 2023. The grand jurors for the State of Tennessee, duly elected and panel sworn and charged to inquire in and for the body of the County of Montgomery in the state aforesaid upon their oath present, count one, that on or about the 9th day of January 2023, and in the state and county aforesaid, Sarah Jo Fuson unlawfully, intentionally, or knowingly, and other than by accidental means, did treat O.H., a child 8 years of age or less, in such a manner as to inflict serious bodily injury to said child in violation of TCA 39-15-402 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee. Count two. And the grand jurors aforesaid upon their oath aforesaid do further present and say that on or about the 9th day of January 2023, and in the state and county aforesaid, Sarah Jo Fuson unlawfully, intentionally, or knowingly, and other than by accidental means, did treat O.H., a child 8 years of age or less, in such a manner as to inflict injury to said child in violation of TCA 39-15-401 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Tennessee, signed by Glenn R. Funk, District Attorney General.
To that indictment, how does the defendant plead?
Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about a betrayal. It's about a betrayal of trust by the defendant, Ms. Sarah Fuson. She betrayed the trust of her employer, Tylertown Learning Center in Clarksville, Tennessee. And she betrayed the trust of Mr. and Mrs. Hyde, the parents of Olivia. And most importantly, she betrayed the trust of a one-year-old child, Miss Olivia Hyde. On January 9th, 2023, it was Olivia's first day in the new one-year-old classroom. First day. Macy Hyde did what every parent must do at some point. They trusted someone else to care for their child while they went to work. They trusted Miss Sarah Fuson. That evening, when they brought Olivia home, that trust had already been broken. They would come to learn over the course of the next 7 to 10 days that Olivia had not only suffered bruising on her arms, but she suffered a skull fracture at the hands of the defendant, Miss Sarah Fuson. And let me be clear, this was no accident. What happened that day and how it came to light will be very clear from the evidence you're going to see and hear. Now let's talk about the proof we're going to present to you over the course of the next couple days. You'll hear from Mrs. Macy Hyde, the mother of Olivia. You'll hear how she dropped her off at Tylertown that morning, unharmed. She'll tell you how when she got home with Olivia later that evening, she discovered the bruising on her arms. You'll see the photographs of these bruises. At that point, she asked her husband, Thomas, if he knew how Olivia had obtained these bruises. He didn't know. So Mrs. Hyde goes back to Tylertown Learning Center the next day, January 10th, and asks the manager there, Miss Sabrina Carter, if she was aware of how Olivia had gotten these bruises. Miss Carter told her she didn't know, but they had video cameras and she was going to go review that footage, find out if they could figure out how she got the bruises. You'll hear from Miss Sabrina Carter. She'll tell you what she saw in that video. You're going to see that video. And what you'll see is Miss Sarah Fuson handle Olivia Hyde in a way that nobody should ever handle any child, let alone a one-year-old baby. You'll see two separate incidents on that video. There's one while Olivia's in a high chair, and then there's another while she's being put down for a nap on a nap cot. In both of these incidents, you'll see Miss Fuson handle her roughly, and on the nap cot, you'll see Olivia's head strike the cot, the edge of the cot, maybe the floor multiple times, 7 to 8 times. Ms. Carter will tell you what she did after she viewed this video and how ultimately Department of Children's Services and the Clarksville Police Department became involved. Now you'll hear from Department of Children's Services, Mr. Caleb Sherman. He was assigned to investigate this case on behalf of the Department of Children's Services. You'll hear from him. what he did, how they conduct their investigations. You also hear from Detective Alan Pendarvis, Clarksville Police Department, who began the criminal investigation into this case. He'll tell you what he did and why ultimately he referred the case to TBI Special Agent Jonathan McGowan. You'll also hear from Special Agent McGowan. He'll walk you through his detailed investigation, what he did, what he collected, who he spoke to. And you're also going to hear from Dr. Karen Lakin. She's the head of the Vanderbilt Care Team, child abuse specialist. She specializes in pediatric child abuse cases. She's going to tell you that after she reviewed the video and the photos and the medical records of Olivia, she concluded that Olivia's bruises and the skull fracture were the result of non-accidental trauma inflicted by the way Ms. Sarah Fuson handled her in the classroom that day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, by the time you've seen and heard all the evidence in this case, it's going to be very clear as to what happened. Ms. Fuson was trusted to care for a 1-year-old child, and instead she hurt her. She broke the most basic rule of caregiving: to protect, not to harm. At the end of this case, the state will ask you to hold her accountable for her actions in that betrayal of trust and return the only verdict that justice and the evidence require: guilty. Thank you.
Mr. Trines?
I apologize that my voice is so grating this afternoon, and if you'd bear with me, I'd really appreciate it. In July of 2022, when COVID was still with us, Sarah Fuson, then a 22-year-old woman with an associate's degree from Austin Peay State University, answered an Indeed advertisement for the Tylertown Learning Center in Clarksville. With little formal experience and even less training, Sarah was hired as an assistant teacher in the 1-year-old toddler room at Tylertown and was paid $10.50 an hour for her 40-hour work week. Some might say she got all the responsibility and very little of the money. Since it was COVID, her training was done remotely, exclusively online, and she earned electronic certificates as she completed the required courses alone. Her role as assistant teacher was short-lived, since the teacher that was training her quit 2 weeks after Sarah started. She was on her own in the 1-year-old toddler room. She was responsible for 6 1-year-olds, a lot of hustling, a lot of frantic multitasking. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you'll see this week that the defining moment in this case is Monday, January 9, 2023, when the lives of 22-year-old Sarah Fuson and then just 1-year-old Olivia Hyde intersected in the toddler room at Tylertown. Ironically, it was Olivia's first day in the toddler room. She was transitioning from the infant room to the 1-year-old room, where Sarah was assigned as the teacher. You will learn, surprisingly, that the only criteria at Tylertown for transitioning from the infant room to the toddler room was achieving the chronological age of 1-year-old, without any practical consideration given as to whether the child was developmentally prepared for that move. In the infant room, the children had unlimited, unstructured nap time. As you might expect, the children were permitted to have pacifiers, and there were rocking chairs in the infant room so that the caregivers could rock the children to soothe them and calm them. For whatever reason, when they transitioned to the toddler room at age 1, the toddler room prohibited pacifiers. There were no rocking chairs for the teachers and the students to use. On Olivia's first day in the toddler room, she was still crawling. She could not sit up on her own. And I think that's going to be a significant circumstance for you all to consider as you hear the proof in the case. When you look at the surveillance video from the morning of January the 9th, you will see Sarah Fuson having to react like a shortstop and grab Olivia to keep her from sliding between the lunch table and her chair so she wouldn't land on the floor. At nap time, in the early afternoon of January 9, Olivia was restless and crying. The surveillance video shows Sarah setting up the cots and putting fitted sheets on each cot. You'll see the cots are small. I think they have one to show you this week during the trial. And they have a plastic-covered aluminum frame. The sleeping area on the cot is fashioned out of a bouncy nylon material. When the cots are open, they are about 5 inches off the floor. For better or worse, the training that Sarah received for nap time was that if a child kept popping up, she was to place them back down on the cot every time they popped up. Consistent with Sarah's training, the video surveillance from nap time shows Sarah placing Olivia back down on the cot each time she popped up. When Sarah was confronted on January 10 with the surveillance video, Sarah acknowledged, hey, what I was doing with Olivia looked a little hard, was the phrase she used. You're going to see the video this week. You all might come to the conclusion that it looked a little rough to you, but that is not the ultimate question that you have to answer in this case. It may look rough, but you have to determine, was her conduct, Sarah Fusant's conduct, intentional? Was it an intentional act designed to injure Olivia Hyde? There is another moment in time that has sparked a big debate between the medical experts in this case. Count 1 of the indictment, as you just heard a few minutes ago from the state, charges aggravated child abuse based on the state's belief that the conduct of Sarah Fusant resulted in a skull fracture to Olivia Hyde. Keep those words in mind, skull fracture. Presumably, count 2 of the indictment that was outlined for you is based upon bruising to Olivia's arms, which her mother reported to Sabrina Carter, the daycare director, on the morning of January the 10th. On Friday, January the 13th, Olivia's mother, Macy Hyde, and I think you'll hear from Mrs. Hyde this afternoon, took Olivia to her primary care provider, Vanderbilt Pediatric Associates in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, where Macy Hyde coincidentally works, for blood work and a physical examination. The nurse practitioner that examined Olivia on Friday, January the 13th, noted that there was bruising on Olivia's arms, which was resolving, which was healing. Otherwise, the remainder of Olivia's examination on January 13th in Hopkinsville was unremarkable. She had according to that report, she had a painless range of motion in her extremities and did not appear to be in any distress. All of her laboratory results were completely normal. This incident, the January 9th incident, was reported to the Department of Children's Services on Friday, January the 13th, which performed an initial investigation, then reported the case to the Clarksville Police Department, who in turn referred the case to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. And ladies and gentlemen, by that time on January the 13th, the child abuse train was set in full motion. On January the 19th, at the suggestion of law enforcement, Olivia was taken to the Monroe Carroll Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt in Nashville. On that day, Olivia was evaluated by hospital staff and noted to be active and in no distress. Her pupils were equal, round, and reactive to light. She had normal cardiovascular and pulmonary findings, had normal bowel sounds, no swelling, no tenderness or deformity in her extremities, exhibit a normal range of motion. There were no signs of trauma or what they call point tenderness. Ladies and gentlemen, I think when we get to the end of this trial, you're going to conclude, after you've heard all of the proof including the expert proof, that no X-ray and no CT scan conclusively determined that Olivia Hyde actually sustained a skull fracture. The radiology department where Olivia underwent this so-called non-contrast head CT scan was interpreted as showing, and this gets to be a little technical and I'd ask you to follow me, quote, a linear lucency of the sagittal suture, close quote. And you're going to hear a lot more about that this week from the experts. Those 5 or 6 ambiguous words about the linear lucency bring us here today. The Vanderbilt radiologist did not say that Olivia had a skull fracture. I think when you hear all the proof, you're going to hear that the radiologist said that it was his impression that the linear lucency was suspicious for fracture. Let me say that again. The radiologist's impression was that this linear lucency was suspicious for fracture. What happens is that fuzzy diagnosis was conveyed to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center hospital staff, or by the Vanderbilt hospital staff, to the Department of Children's Services and TBI, and it became a linear lucency that was suspicious for possible fracture, and they were off to the races. From that point on, every subsequent law enforcement investigation document referred to the CT finding, initially reported as this linear lucency that was suspicious, became a hairline skull fracture. A hairline skull fracture. And that phrase was carried forward in every subsequent law enforcement report. It was sort of like, so let it be written, so let it be done. And that rumor, an unsubstantiated suspicion of a fracture, ripened into this criminal indictment with potentially devastating consequences. The defense experts that you're going to hear from this week, Dr. Evan Matches and his colleagues, who are eminently qualified, after conducting what they call a virtual autopsy using Vanderbilt's CT scan data of Olivia, shows that the phantom fracture is not a fracture. In fact, it's something known as an accessory suture that is part of an extra bone in Olivia's head, something called a Wormian bone. Ladies and gentlemen, respectfully, you all are not here this week to solve this case. If we get to Friday or whenever it is when this case is over, if you find yourself back in the jury room trying to determine if there was a skull fracture sustained by Olivia Hyde, the state would have failed to do its job in proving beyond a reasonable doubt that there was this injury, and it will be your duty to acquit Sarah Fuson. I appreciate your time and attention going forward this week.
I know you were soft-spoken, so
Might help to just go ahead and pull the base of that microphone towards you. It'll slide. There
Okay,
you
sorry.
go.
thank you, Your Honor. That's what I was getting. Could you please tell us your name and spell both your first and last name for us?
Macy Hyde, Macyhyde.
And are you married?
I am.
And what is your husband's name?
Thomas Hyde.
Is he here in the courtroom today?
He is.
If I ask him to raise his hand, is that him?
Yes.
All right. Always leery of asking dates and years and things, but how long have y'all been married?
Just had our 7th wedding anniversary in August.
All right. And do you have any children at this time? And I'm talking about now, October of 2025.
We do. We have a daughter and then a son and then one currently on the way.
And what is your daughter's name?
Olivia Hyde,
When was she born?
December 7th, 2021.
And how old is the son, your son?
Cameron, he's 2. He just turned 2 in July.
Back in 2022 and into February of 2023, where were you, your husband, and Olivia living?
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Okay. Were you employed outside the home?
I was.
And what type of work do you do?
I'm a pediatric nurse.
And where were you employed? And as far as, was it in Clarksville?
No, I worked in Hopkinsville, Kentucky for Vanderbilt.
And your husband, what was he doing at the time?
He's military.
Okay. So was he stationed at Fort Campbell?
Yes, sir.
And when you say you were living in Clarksville, was that Montgomery County, Tennessee?
Yes, sir.
How long had your husband been stationed at Fort Campbell and/or living at?
We got there in 2019,
Okay,
so
a few years. Okay. And after Olivia was born, did you continue working?
yes, sir.
All right. After spending, I would suspect, some time. How old was Olivia when you went back to work?
A little over 3 months.
Did you have any family, relatives in the Clarksville community to do daycare for you?
No, sir.
Okay. So what did you go about doing to seek out daycare?
Most daycares have a long wait list in Clarksville, so we just looked at a couple. The Tylertown was actually in our neighborhood, and they were available, and they were close proximity.
Okay. Referring to Tylertown Learning Center?
Yes,
That
sir.
we've referenced.
Yes, sir.
Prior to enrolling Olivia there, did you go tour the facility?
Yes, sir.
Right. What did it appear like to you?
Oh, it was very nice. Newly built. The people, Miss Sabrina was great. We were recommended from a friend, so
Okay. And when you say Miss Sabrina, would that be Sabrina Carter?
yes,
Okay.
sir.
Was she the manager,
She was the director.
director?
Yes, sir.
All right. So when you enrolled Olivia there, take it by your answer. My other question, she was about 3 months old. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And so would she have been in the infant room at that time?
Yes, sir.
When you say it was in close proximity, was it a matter of blocks, miles, or some idea?
Matter of blocks. We were in the neighborhood right behind it.
Okay. So when you dropped Olivia off, I'm gonna say you or your husband, did you walk her over or drive her?
Drive.
Okay. And who was primarily the one who would
Myself.
drop her off? Okay. Pardon me. And about what time of day?
In the morning, I had to be at work at 8 usually, so drop her off around 7:30.
And what was pickup time?
Usually 4:30, 5.
And did you also do the pickup?
Yes, sir, most of the time.
Okay. In the months after she turned 3, going on month after month, did she seem to do well at Tylertown?
She did.
Were you able to go by on occasion, like during the day, or arrive
Yes.
early to check on, or not check on, but at least to see?
Yes, sir, and
Or-
I was able to go in and breastfeed if I ever needed to as well.
Okay. So would that have been daily, weekly, a few days a week? Just how-
Probably a couple times a month. It wasn't too often.
Okay. Now, as she progressed, got older, were you aware that something would happen when she became 1, or to go to a different room?
Like the transition?
Yes, the transition.
Yes.
All right. And were you informed about how that would work and what she would be doing, moving from infant to toddler?
Yes, sir. They had done the transition period over a good amount of time. She wasn't 1, she was 13 months.
Okay. And that's why I was asking about the transition. As far as you knew, was this a gradual step, or just one day she's plucked up and put in the other
Gradual.
room? Gradual.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at the age that she transition into the toddler room, was she walking,
Yes, sir.
talking, at least
Yes.
some? Okay. And otherwise healthy?
Yes, very.
In fact, did you do the normal pediatric
Yeah,
visits, doctors?
she met all her developmental milestones. She could sit, walk, all that.
And by your place of employment, was that where she went for her
Yes, sir.
appointments?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before January 9th, that's the day we're talking about primarily, were you aware she'd had any difficulties or any incidents, anything
Before that day?
before that day?
No, sir.
At Tylertown?
No, sir.
Now, on January the 9th, was there anything unusual when did you drop her off? I don't presume, but.
January 9th, I dropped her off.
Okay. When you dropped her off on January the 9th, was there anything unusual about that day?
Just that it was her first day in the new room, but nothing particular.
Anything that concerned you about leaving her as she was going to a new room? Other than just the mother?
Mothers, yeah,
So did you go on to work that day?
I did.
And that afternoon, did you go pick her up?
I did.
When you picked her up, did you notice at that time at Tylertown anything unusual about her?
When she came, like when I picked her up and she came to me, she seemed overly emotional, but I wasn't sure if that was just because it was her first day in the new room. She was excited to see me and ready to go.
Okay. And did you take her home? When you arrived at home, was your husband already there, or
No,
did he arrive later?
He was later, he was working.
At some point that evening, did you notice anything unusual again about Olivia?
Yes, sir.
Tell us about that.
When I was getting her ready for bed, undressing her for the day, I noticed bruising on the backs and sides of her arms.
And I want to ask about that with respect to how was she dressed that day at Tylertown?
Yeah, she had on a waffle knit shirt. So they have like these little whole, like, the waffle knit material, long sleeve, and the bruising was like an indentation of the waffle.
When you picked her up, was she still clothed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you see the bruising while she had her clothes on, her top on?
No, sir.
I believe you said you were getting her ready for bed, saw that. What was your reaction to that?
Sad.
Can you describe the bruising that you saw?
It was handprint indentions of the waffle knit, and it just wrapped. You could see like the finger lines.
Did you see that before or after your husband arrived home?
Before.
When he arrived home, did you discuss it with him? Oh, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And you recall about what time of the evening that was?
It was late. I had to keep her awake just so I could show him the bruises.
At that time, did you have any idea how that could have happened?
No.
Did you take pictures of the bruising?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would like to show Mr. Stryan's. All right, I could ask that this series of some 6 photographs be passed to the witness.
You may.
Ms. Hyde, would you look through those and see if those appear to be enlargements or copies of the photographs you took of your daughter's injuries on January the 9th, 2023?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I would move to introduce those as collective Exhibit 1 to this proceeding, and I've arbitrarily labeled them A through F.
All right.
And may at this time we publish those to the jury.
You may.
Ms. Hyde, a moment ago, I referenced to the court about having labeled these A through F. So this would be our trial exhibit 1A. Could you describe, first of all, who's in that photograph?
My daughter?
And could you describe what you see in that photograph and what you told us about a few minutes ago?
Those would be the bruising on the back of the arm.
And would that be your right arm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go to B. Again, is this Olivia
Yes.
and her
That's her left arm.
back of her left arm?
Yes, sir.
C. Don't mean to be presumptuous, but is that your hand holding her arm?
Yes, sir.
D. And you, again, your hand and your daughter.
Sir.
Was she like that when she went to school that morning to Tylertown?
No, sir.
Next, E. And then lastly, F. And I believe you referenced a few minutes ago in discussing what your daughter was wearing, that she had on a waffle-type pattern top.
Yes, sir.
And is that her left arm with that
Yes, sir.
indented pattern?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's all we'll have up, this witness. Thank you. Based upon that, what did you do, if anything, that evening, other than put her to bed and,
Well, I waited for my husband to show her, and then I didn't first notice the waffle knit. He had asked, well, what did we have her in today? And I showed him the clothes that I took off of her. And then us talking together, we thought, oh, that looks very similar, same print of clothes that she was wearing.
and by knowing that was the clothes she was wearing when she was left at Tylertown, and the clothes that she was wearing when you picked her up at Tylertown, did you deduce that whatever happened there?
Yes, sir.
The next morning, did you take Olivia back to Tylertown? I'm sorry, I'm.
Yes.
Okay. And tell us about that. As far as what did you do? Who did you talk to?
First, I took her to Miss Sabrina to show her the pictures that you just showed. And then I asked if it was okay that I'd take her shirt off there and show her. So I showed her the bruises. And Sabrina said that she would look into it. And I had to go to work, so I took her to the room.
Prior to January the 9th, 2023, did you know Sarah Jo Fuson?
No, sir.
To your knowledge, had she been a caretaker, teacher of your child in the infant room?
No.
Did you see the person that you now know as Sarah Jo Fuson there on the morning of January 10th?
Yes, sir.
And is that person here in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir.
Could you indicate who that person is, perhaps by where she's sitting and what she's wearing?
Black shirt.
All right, as the record reflects, she is indicated,
All
Ms.
right, the record
Fuson.
will reflect that she's identified the defendant.
How was Olivia that morning at your house as you were getting her ready to go to Tylertown? Was there anything, pardon me, I didn't mean to interrupt. Was there anything unusual about her behavior that you?
More irritable than normal, fussier than normal. She never cried. So she just seemed a little different.
And when you arrived at Tylertown, did you go inside
Yes, sir.
with Olivia
Yes, sir.
and spoke to Miss Sabrina?
Yes, sir.
Did you see Miss Fuson that morning?
Sir.
Was Olivia in your presence when you saw Miss Fuson?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you notice about Olivia's reaction?
She was scared. She cried when I gave her to her.
When you say to her, did you physically give your daughter, your 13-month-old daughter, to the defendant, Ms. Fuson?
Yes.
Did you literally hand Olivia to her?
I don't remember specifically if I handed.
Or was
But-
it close contact?
Yes, sir. And she didn't want to go.
You had to go to work. Were you concerned about leaving her that morning?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you do as a follow-up?
A little shortly after, I talked to Miss Sabrina.
And was it your understanding that there were video cameras
Yes, sir.
in every room, at least
Yes, sir.
surveillance in most, if not all, of the rooms?
Yes, sir.
And did you discuss with Miss Sabrina about her reviewing, or that there may have been video to see what could have happened?
Yes, sir. So the first time she looked at the video, we talked twice that day. After we talked the first time, I had asked her to look at nap time.
Now, was this by phone?
Yes, sir.
Because you
Yes,
had
sir.
gone to work.
Yes, sir.
And don't tell us what Ms. Carter said to you, but you had a conversation, and you asked her to review nap time.
Yes, Sarah had specifically mentioned to me when I picked Olivia up the day before that Olivia had given her trouble at nap time.
Did she go into any more detail about that?
Just that she kept having to say, Liv, lay down, and that she gave her trouble.
That who gave who trouble?
Liv gave Sarah trouble.
And based upon that, you asked Ms. Carter to review the nap time video.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen that video?
Yes, sir.
Based upon that, and let me just say, did you see it that day, or has that been since the course of the investigation?
Not that day.
Okay. But based upon the conversation, what, if anything, did you do with respect to Olivia, and have you seen by a doctor?
So initially, we just watched her. With head trauma, there's not a lot. But then I wanted the bruising and everything looked at, so I'd taken her to her pediatrician.
Okay. And as a pediatric nurse, have you yourself seen children with
Yes, sir.
trauma,
Yes, sir.
injuries? When did you have her seen by a pediatrician?
Friday the 13th.
And where was that?
Hopkinsville Vanderbilt Pediatrics.
Back to that was her treating physician or her
Yes, sir.
regular doctor? Did anything unusual occur there, or have any?
No, sir.
Issues?
She just examined the bruises, like he said earlier, made sure that nothing like seemed arm-wise okay with, that was the main thing that we could see physically.
Okay. And what, if anything, happened next with respect to her care or treatment? Being examined
At that location or the next?
at that location? Was there anything other than just the review of her external?
No, I
Body.
think she had her hemoglobin check, which is not
Okay.
a lot of blood work. It's just one finger poke. So that would be the only blood work she had specifically there, and that tells you if she's anemic.
And that's what I was kind of getting at. Was there any really in-depth examination over there?
No, sir, our office is not equipped for in-depth. If that's needed, we have to refer outwards to the Children's Hospital,
And where is the Children's Hospital?
Nashville.
was Olivia ultimately seen there?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall approximately when?
Yes, the 19th, I had received a call on the 18th saying that she probably needed to be further examined.
And did you take her to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital?
Yes, sir.
Did anything occur there with respect to any additional injuries or anything that happened with respect to her having any additional trauma from January the 9th up until the date she was seen at Monroe Carroll?
Not that I'm aware of.
I'm just saying, was she involved in any other incident, have any additional bruising or anything?
No, sir. She actually fell when we were in the hospital with one of the nurses, but no.
Okay, did that cause any injury?
No, sir.
Okay. So I was just trying to say, between the 9th, when you observed the bruising, until Monroe Carroll, Vanderbilt Children's Hospital,
Nothing.
did you take her back to Tylertown Learning Center on January the 11th?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
okay. Was Miss Fuson still there?
No, sir.
And did you have once Miss Fuson was gone from Tylertown, did you have any reason not to take Olivia back or have any concerns for her well-being at Tylertown?
No, sir.
You described Olivia's behavior or reaction upon seeing Miss Fuson on January the 10th. In the days following that, was there any other change in her behavior that you noticed while she was at home?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
Very fussy, very irritable, very hard to console. Not our happy baby.
And on those following days, after Miss Fuson was gone from Tylertown, did she exhibit the same behavior upon being left at Tylertown?
When I dropped her off?
Yes, when you dropped her off.
No, sir.
We could have a moment, Charlie.
May, you may.
To my question, Charlie.
Mr. Lyons?
Good afternoon, Mrs. Hyde.
Good afternoon.
January the 9th was Olivia's first day in the toddler room, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you said that she had transitioned in the week before, is that correct?
Previous week, she was 13 months.
Okay. And did they bring her to the toddler room a few times the week preceding January the 9th?
Yes, sir.
And that was the transitioning process, is that right?
No, it was a little bit more than that.
Okay. Now, at that time, that she was transitioning into the toddler room, Olivia was still using a pacifier, wasn't she?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you were aware that they did not allow pacifiers in the toddler room?
Correct.
And was that an issue with you in transitioning her into the toddler room?
No, sir.
Okay. They also had the rocking chairs in the infant room, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you were interviewed by the FBI, you mentioned that, or the TBI, excuse me, that you really liked the infant room. And you were aware that she could have stayed in that infant room until age 15 months, is that right?
No, sir.
They never told you that?
She was developmentally okay to go to the next room.
Okay. She wasn't really walking at that time, was she?
She was.
Okay. She wasn't, your recollection is that she wasn't still crawling?
No. She
Okay.
maybe crawled, baby still crawled.
Okay. She had a little difficulty standing up on her own, didn't she?
She could walk.
Now, you've seen the video of the events of January the 9th, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you saw the video where Olivia is at that, what I call the lunch table. Did you remember seeing that? And Olivia had difficulty in being able to sit up in that chair, is that right?
No, sir.
Okay, you didn't think so.
No, sir.
Back at that time, in January of 2023, did you know one of the caregivers there named Nicole Horton Mariner? You remember
Was she in
Nicole?
the infant room?
Yeah, she was in the infant room. She was also a floater.
Okay.
Would you be surprised that Nicole characterized her as still crawling and could not sit up on her own?
Like I said, babies still crawl. Even at
Okay.
13 months, 14 months, they're still going to crawl, even when they can walk. So I'm not surprised by that. She could sit up on her own since 6 months old, and that's in her medical file.
Now, this happened on January the 9th, is that right?
Correct.
And you told the jury that you brought her back to school on January the 10th.
Yes, sir.
And then you described some incident when you dropped her off on the morning of the 10th, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Where in your characterization, you thought your daughter was mean mugging, I think the phrase you used,
Mean, mugged, and scared.
Sarah Fuson. And I know you had to get to work, but you're telling the jury that under those circumstances, you left her at the school on the 10th.
Yep, and that's one of my biggest regrets.
And then on Wednesday, the 11th, she was back at school, correct?
Yes.
Thursday, the 12th, she was back at school.
Yes, because Sarah was no longer there.
And then the 13th is when you all went to your work for the medical evaluation. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's in Hopkinsville,
Yes, sir.
Vanderbilt Pediatrics. And my reading of the chart entries was that she was perfectly fine on that day. Is that right?
Physically looking at her, yes.
I mean, when she was examined by your colleagues on Friday, January the 13th, they noted that the bruises were resolving on her arms, meaning that they were healing. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And that she had full range of motion
Yes, sir.
with her arms.
Yes, sir.
There was no trauma to her extremities, correct?
Correct.
And the lab results were all normal. Is that right?
Just the one test, yes.
Okay. So really, Olivia never missed any school as a result of this incident on January the 9th. Is that right?
She did after, but not that week.
But not related to this, correct?
Yes, related to this.
Well, on January the 19th, she went to Vanderbilt in Nashville. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I think you said that there were no other incidents with her after the event of January the 9th. Is that right?
From meaning bruises wise?
Any kind of injury?
Correct.
Okay. Did you accompany your husband Thomas on January the 19th to the CT scan at Vanderbilt Hospital?
I did.
Okay. Were you aware that she had a fall that day at Vanderbilt Hospital?
Yes, I mentioned that when Roger was talking.
Okay. And it was a fall where she hit, I didn't hear you say that she hit her head.
Yes, in front of the nurse, and it was after the
Okay.
CT scan.
I think your daughter is still a student there. Is that right?
No, sir.
Okay, she's no longer going to Tylertown?
No, sir.
Okay. I had seen something on their website, a picture of your daughter. When did she stop going there?
We moved
Okay,
to Texas.
okay.
We moved
And what year was that?
this year.
This year? May I have one moment, Your Honor?
You may.